What role is paid media playing in your brand? What role should it be playing in your brand today and crucially in your growth plans? It's a big topic, it's a very important topic, and it's what we're going to be discussing today in this episode of T.E.A Talks, which once again comes live from the car. Let's get into it. So go on, here we are in the car once again, doing another live T.E Talks.
Yes.
Where we're going to tackle a big topic today. We're going to look at what role paid media has for brands. And I think I'll explain the reason we wanted to do this one is whenever we're talking to a prospect, whenever we're looking at our clients' campaigns, one of the first things we do is ascertain what reliance a brand has on paid media. Do you want to just explain why we do that? And from that, what we typically see.
Yes, no, it's a fantastic topic. We've done it literally just now after speaking to the prospect. It's phenomenal. And first and foremost, we really need to understand, and our prospects need to understand, what is the current reliance on each of the channels they currently have within the mix. So what we really want to do is we really want to we want to drive home the point that actually there is no one channel that you should be over-reliant on. And what we want to initially do is we just want to understand what this reliance looks like.
And we don't, and just to butt in quickly, but we don't, one thing we've always advocated for years is, and I like to keep, and just to say on that, what we've always advocated to brands is to not put essentially all your eggs in one basket. You want to make sure that you're not reliant, and we call this very simple way of understanding your reliance. We call this the backbone of digital marketing. We've got a guide, we've got a video series. We'll include the link to it beneath this T Talk. But do you want to just explain what is the backbone of digital marketing and how can brands use it to understand the reliance that they have on paid media, and then within that, the role that it's playing in their current business plans?
And
you do that while I'm just changing lanes.
Yes. Backbone of digital marketing is a very simple concept because we do like things keep simple, and essentially it's based on 4 pillars of your marketing activities. So the traffic that you buy, traffic you own, traffic you nurture, and traffic you earn.
There you go.
So buy it, own it, nurture it, and earn it. So buy it, it's obviously your paid media, right?
Yes.
So it's everything that you spend money on to generate that traffic. Now, own it is your organic traffic, so everything that you can actually actively and physically own in terms of your digital space.
It's all your direct, your direct traffic, you're repeating, returning,
your organic, and so on. Nurture it is essentially using channels that you have used to nurture your prospects, to nurture your customers. So your email marketing, your affiliates, and stuff like that.
Social media.
Affiliates would be paid.
Yes.
And then earn it. So that's essentially anything that came from your PR efforts and anything that you have earned through your business activity. So what we do as a concept, we always try to find out what this reliance is before we start jumping into a wider strategy.
And the reason that understanding what reliance you have on paid media is so important is because, every brand that we speak to, they always want to grow. They always come, and the brief is always largely the same. It's we want to go from turnover of X or profit of Y up to this next level. They want to grow. We work with a lot of scale ups, right? The businesses and brands that want to grow. And so we say, that's fine, let us know what the plan is, let us see the business plan essentially. And then from there, what we need to understand is, where is that growth coming from right now? And that's really why we get that we sort of, the backbone of digital marketing is an evergreen concept. We came up with it years ago. And it's just a very simple framework that allows you to look at the traffic, look at what's being reported, and then see, just how reliant am I on traffic that I'm buying, traffic that I own, i.e. brand, traffic I'm nurturing, and traffic and on this traffic and sales that I'm earning. And by understanding that reliance, which is incredibly simple, and so many people have used this over years, you can go, okay, right now 25, 30, 40, 50%, 60% of our traffic is coming via this type of pillars, I'm buying it or whatever. And the brand we were just speaking to, they knew their numbers, which was, not every brand knows the numbers, which is amazing. And they said, we know we're over 40% reliant on traffic we're buying.
Yes.
Now that's not necessarily a problem.
No.
But the point is, one, it's understanding that. So the fact that they understood it, great.
Yeah.
Then understand where's the rest of the 60%. And crucially, it's looking backwards. It's understanding, well, how has that reliance and the role that paid media has played changed over years? So if you go back a year, 2, 3, what did that look like? Have you, as a brand, as you've grown, are you becoming more reliant or less reliant on any one of those 4 pillars? Because by understanding that, you can see where your growth is coming from. And crucially, I'll let you get a word in edgeways in a minute.
No,
but crucially, I'm on my soapbox now, but crucially, it's the absolute key is then when you're planning to grow for the future, you then can look at it and go, well, where's the growth going to come from? Can I, and how quickly? So the traffic you're buying is probably the quickest that you can have an influence on.
Yes.
Isn't it? And that's why we're saying is, when with this being about what reliance does paid media, the brief is often, we want to grow. We know that the traffic you own is direct, and that will grow as a result of you doing wider marketing stuff, SEO, PPC, etc., etc. So that's going to naturally grow if you're doing all the right things and you're growing your brand. It's then, okay, what does the traffic you're nurturing look like? And then obviously the earning it that's a long-term strategy. So the buying it, for most of our brands, is where they focus most of their efforts, isn't it? And that's where we put that under the microscope and go, okay, well, what reliance do does this brand have on the traffic that's buying?
And that's because it's the quickest. So, for example, for a startup, the quickest route to market always will be paid, mainly because they haven't got that presence yet. They haven't yet established themselves as a business. So no one is going to search for the brand because no one knows that they exist.
Exactly, and that's why we see an over-reliance on paid media, and that's why we said this. The whole purpose of this T Talk is to understand, go into your data, look back at the last couple of years of your data, and establish what role is paid media playing in your brand. Really easy. You can do it. Anyone watching this T Talk, spend 15 minutes, you can go and look at your data, as long as you've got accurate tracking, your traffic, your sales, your visibility, and if you can't do it, get someone on your team to do it. What reliance does our brand have? What proportion of our sales are being attributed to platforms and channels that we are effectively buying in?
Yes, and we've seen brands that have got 60-70% reliance on buying traffic, and then the question should be asked, so if suddenly Google disappeared, Meta disappeared, what would I do then? I think the biggest problem always is that with paid media essentially is that it's scalable to a point. So I think one of the biggest misconceptions is that the more money I'm going to throw at it, the more return is going to bring to me. But the problem is that we are going to hit the ceiling. We are going to start hitting those diminishing returns, which means that, okay, so what's next? What is another channel you're going to bring in? And then a lot of people will just say, oh, we're just going to bring some more Meta. We're just going to bring another paid media channel. And then suddenly you just look at them and you just...
You're absolutely right. I think you're going to get to a point, for a lot of brands in scale-up mode, they don't know where they're.
No.
For every £1 I put in, I'm getting £3 back, £4 back, £5, £6, whatever. You are going to hit a point where, okay, I just can't get more than £6 back, £7, £8 back for every £1 I put in. Okay, I can dial up the amount I'm spending, because if I'm spending £1, I'm getting £6 back, great, I'll keep doing that all day long, fine. But as you say, you go to a certain point, depending on the sector and so on, you start to see diminishing returns, you start to see an increasing reliance on brand and so on. But then, and the reason this is so important is understanding your reliance per channel. So that you can, then when you're planning ahead, the key bit really is looking at, it's really simple, it's understanding where you are today by looking at your data. Then overlay that and look backwards, look in the past, what's gone before, what did your data, so you can see overall our SEO is improving, or we used to do a really great job with the traffic we were nurturing, i.e. social and email, but now that's dropped off, that's dropped. Why are we not doing that we were doing? Or, our PPC, great, our brand is growing, we've hit the £4 million, £5 million mark, but our reliance on paid has gone from 20% to now 50% or 60%, which is, we see these examples all the time. And that's, once you know that, it's so powerful, because then when you're a brand and you go, oh well, actually we want to go to the 5 mil mark or the 8 mil mark or the 10 million turnover mark, we then challenge brand and go, okay, but where's that growth coming from? Because to get that growth in the time frame you want and so on, do you want to continue that trajectory of becoming ever more reliant on paid media? And then you factor in diminishing returns. No, you don't. So it's just not putting all your eggs in one basket,
exactly
isn't it?
That. And I think another element to it is the fact that reliance will always be very much in flux. It should be changing. Ideally, we should have more or less even split.
Yeah.
But that is going to be changing depending on your seasonality of the product or service. Depending on how you are currently being active on social media, and what are your current SEO rankings and so on.
Yeah.
So I would never look at any of these channels in isolation. They always need to be part of that wider strategy.
It's all, I'm going to continue my food theme. I've mentioned eggs in a basket. It's all part of a pie, right? It's all part of the marketing pie. You don't want to have, an over-reliance. You want equal slices of pie, don't you? And I think that's where, again, we come back to this backbone of digital marketing, because it's all marketing, it's all digital. But what you want to do is you want to look at your data and go, well, in an ideal world, it's rarely like this, but you want to have a 25% split, don't you?
Yes.
If 25% of your reliance is from traffic you are buying, then tunnel, there you go. This is a T.E.A Talks tunnel. There you go.
Brilliant.
But if you have 25% of your reliance is on traffic you're buying, 25% is on traffic that you own, repeat, people that are coming direct to your website, 25% of your traffic is from those that you are nurturing via email, social, etc., and then 25% coming organically when you exclude brand. That is the perfect marketing mix as far as channel and sale acquisition is concerned.
Absolutely.
It's rarely like that, but if you use that as a bit of a baseline, you're going to get it, you're going to be able to see, and then it will highlight, okay, we've got a problem here, we've got a 70% reliance on traffic we're buying. Actually, if we want to continue to grow our brand, if we look at all of those pillars in isolation, where is we going to see the growth? What can we do with nurturing? And we do paid media, so we're obviously always advocating paid media, but never to the detriment of the wider brand. We're always thinking very commercially about the brand's overall goals, not just the doing Google ads for the sake of doing Meta ads for the sake of Meta ads, is it?
It all has to really fit in the wider growth strategy, because it's very much all about growth. And I think, for what we always advocate and try and recommend is to make sure that the reliance on paid media should be anything between 20 to 30%. Yeah. Because if we go any further than this, then all of a sudden all the other channels are going to be tailing off, and it's a lot. Well, paid media is scalable, and I think this is where people get it really wrong, because they think because it's scalable they can just do so much with it. But the thing is that yes, it is scalable, but at the same time, if you scale it to a level where actually you cannot sustain it, then it's just going to explode, or implode rather. And this is where you need to start asking yourself a question. Okay, so my reliance, if it's beyond 50%, what should I do now? And driving the budget down is not the answer, definitely is not. What I would say is just look at the other channels and see which ones you can carry on developing and get that balance further down. And in fact, we've got one of our longest standing clients. So we've been doing the paid media and SEO alongside and digital strategy. And suddenly we are now seeing that our spend per month is lower, but the organic growth
is taking up. And that's such a good point, because if you think about the life cycle of a brand, of a scale-up business, in those first couple of years, you are going to have an over-reliance on traffic you are buying, and because you haven't got that much brand visibility, you're building your channels that you're nurturing, you're building your email list, you're building your social following, and you're trying to gain traction with SEO. So if you look at it in the first 2 to 3 years of scaling up, you are going to have an over-reliance on paid, and that's to be expected, and that's fine, because you're still testing the market with regards to what do I need to invest in, what kind of return do I get per pound, etc. But then as the business matures and as you start to grow and as you start to get into the a few million of turnover, then what brands need to be so mindful of is, okay, that we've over-relied on paid media to get us that initial growth, to get us going. But now as we grow, we need to look at diluting that down by not again, putting all of our eggs in one basket, or actually at least being mindful of it, because this stems from the conversations we have with brands every week, where we're going, great, you've got to 3, 4, 5 million turnover, this is amazing. We look at the data and we're like, but you're 60-70% reliant on ads. You're seeing diminishing returns because the cost per click is getting more expensive. Your competitors are following your suit, which means collectively you're just driving up the auction price. And so it becomes this self-fulfilling prophecy, whereby brands then they start to falter with their overall growth plans, because they're taking their eye off the ball. They're looking at the channels which are going to provide the quickest possible win, paid, but they've already taken that as far as they can, and they're starting to see diminishing returns. And then what we see is sometimes we're brought in to be able to work some magic, and often we can, but not every time we can. Sometimes because we look at it and go, well, fundamentally here, you've got the marketing mix wrong, you've got the model wrong, because you've focused so heavily on what you perceived was the easiest.
And also, that's a very good point. And also, what's very important to acknowledge here is the fact that when people get to that point where where the brands hit that ceiling, it's very difficult to scale. So if that happens, then potentially you just need to look at at your paid channels and just say, okay, what am I doing too much of? What do I doing too little of? And what else could I bring potentially to just sort of jolt that back into performance?
Yeah, exactly. And I think hopefully what those watching this T.E.A Talk will take away from this is that we're paid media guys, right? Well, we're SEO guys, we're paid media, we're digital marketers by trade, but in no way do we advocate to any client, to any prospect, like, oh, because we do paid media, that's just what you need. You just need loads of paid media. We take a much more commercial view of this, and when we go and review any prospective client's data, the very first thing we do is go into the acquisition, go and look at where the traffic and the sales are coming from, and what is that overall reliance, and what does that look like over the last 2 or 3 years, because that paints its own picture in understanding how reliable and how, what's the word I'm looking for? Hold on. What's not reliable? That's how robust. Because really that shows just how robust a brand is in terms of their. No, what am I saying? I've lost my train of thought again. Jesus Christ. Sorry, I've completely lost what train of thought was going. I can't remember what I was going to say. Sorry, Darren. I can't even remember what I was going to say. Literally gone completely out of my head. Oh my god. I literally can't even remember what we were talking about.
Yeah, we were talking about how reliant. I think it was just one of the closing. Wrapping up.
So Darren, you're gonna have to work some magic and cut this. I can't even remember what I was talking about. Also, it's like a bloody oven in there. In fact, there's the AC. There we go. Turn that on. There we go. Oh my god.
Yeah, we were talking. Well, you were talking about the us being SEO and PPC guys, and then.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Come on. Yeah.
We are having so it's commercial view at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's, so right. Okay. Here we go. Yeah, look, and I think it's such an important point that we're paid media guys, we're SEO guys, essentially, or digital marketers, but we always take a very commercial view with any client we review, any data we review. It's always, well, what is the reliance you have per channel, is to understand what role, because paid media has a huge role to play, particularly in the brands that are sub 10 mil turnover. Paid media has a massive role to play. But you want to always do that with one eye on, are we aware of the role it's playing? And when we think about growth of our brand overall, make sure that it's fine for it to be a higher proportion of that traffic and visibility for a little while, but you don't want it to just grow so it becomes the dominant force, and It's all about balance, isn't it? You just don't want to become a brand that becomes hugely reliant on just one form of traffic. In the same way as if you're running a business, you don't want to become solely reliant or over-reliant on a single customer.
Yeah, exactly.
It's that same thing. And I think, so really, to sort of sum up this episode, really, what role does paid media play for a lot of brands that are sort of sub 10 mil turnover? The answer is probably an over-reliance.
Yes.
What role ideally should paid media play? 25-30%.
25-30%.
I think that's pretty much, that's really it in terms of when, regardless of the product you're selling, if you're under 10 mil turnover, that's probably where the reliance should be, about 25-30%.
Absolutely.
And then the other channels, should be made up again equally of the traffic you own, the traffic you nurture, the traffic you earn.
Yes, and if you discover that your paid media traffic is higher than 30%, then just see what you can do with other channels just to try and drive that balance down slightly.
Yeah. So there's two things, isn't there? There's look at the overall reliance per channel, and then obviously within the paid media part specifically, obviously look at what are the growth trajectories within that, and look at the ROAS, and look at the what you're investing in, what you're getting out, because that's a different calculation altogether.
Yeah.
So there's two calculations. There's what am I investing into paid media and what return am I getting, and then outside of that, there's the second element to look at, which is, and now what role is paid media having as a whole in my entire marketing mix?
Absolutely.
Those are the two things. Well, hopefully you can take at least one of them, ideally both, away from this T Talk. Let us know. Go and check your own data and see what reliance you do have. Jesus, oh my God, right, hold on. Okay, sorry. So there you go. Hopefully there's, so there you go. There's two key takeaways there, things you can go away and implement right now and see for yourself just how reliant you are on traffic that you are buying. You can also go and look again at what the ROAS you are achieving on your actual ad spend. We hope you've enjoyed this T Talk. We'll include the link to our Backbone of Digital Marketing, which breaks down this concept into way more depth and detail than we've covered in this T Talk. So do check that out, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care.
Bye for now.